Hello, today we are going to be talking about EzRF, which is the Eurofins online requisition form completion system. So I'm going to be giving you a short demo on this system. What you see on screen right now is actually the login page. This is where you would go and enter in your username and password. All right, so as soon as you enter in your username and password, you actually see the home screen now. And now on the home screen, you'll see a lot of different tabs, right? The most important tabs are the Home tab, the Accession tab, and the Contact Us tab. As the name suggests, Home tab would actually bring you to the same page, which is the home page, if you were on any other page on this website. So, for example, if you were on the Submit option, for example, and you clicked on the Home button, it would actually bring you back to the home page. All right. Under the Accession, we have three different options: Submit, Ship, and Search, and we'll be talking about those options in detail. Then we have the Contact Us tab. Now, under Contact Us, you have the contact information of our labs listed. The Contact Us tab also has link to the EzRF user manual. The user manual is right here. This is where you would find the contact information of our labs. If you click on EzRF user guide, it would actually give you a PDF version of the user guide. It's very easy to go through. It should answer all your questions. It basically gives step-by-step instructions on how to use EzRF. Then you have the EzRF FAQ, which is the frequently asked question guide. And of course, if you had any questions that you wanted clarifications on, you can go to this particular link and pull the PDF version of the FAQ document and go over that. I'm sure it will answer most of your questions. Of course, on the upper right-hand side, you have the name of the test user that will appear here. Just under that, you would have the logout button and the change password button. So if you wanted to change password, you can click on this and change your password. If you wanted to log out at any point during the session, you can just click on logout and log out of the system. Okay, so let's go over the first option under Accession, which is the Submit option. Now, this is actually the most important option. This is where you would go to select the requisition form that you wanted to complete. First thing first, you would have to select the study you want to complete the requisition form for. So, for example, if you had access to more than one study, you would have to go to this drop-down right here, the Select Study drop-down, and select the study you want to fill the requisition form for. Again, if you have access to only one study, this study should appear here by default. Now, over here on the right-hand side, you have a Select Site drop-down. Now, this is where you would go to select the site you want to fill the requisition form for. So if you had access to only one site, that site should actually appear here by default. We're going to use a demo study right now for demonstration purposes. Now, of course, all these fields are primed, per study, so they differ between different studies. This is just a demo study, so we have some demo fields here. The first field that you have to fill out is the requisition form number here. Now, again, something to note: any field which is marked with an asterisk is actually a mandatory field. The fields which are not marked with the asterisks, those are optional fields. So if you do not have information available for those fields, you can leave them empty. The first field here is the requisition form number. Now, where do you get the requisition form number from, right? What Eurofins would be doing is that we'll be sending you label sheets. Now, these label sheets would have labels which you would take to label your sample tubes. Also, on these label sheets, you would find requisition form number listed. Now, you will take that same label sheet that you're using to label your tubes. From that label sheet, you would take the requisition form number and enter that number here. So let's enter in a dummy requisition form number. A bill number, if you have that available, it gives us information to track the samples. So if you have that available, please enter that in. Initials, that's patient initials. Patient ID. Oh, I forgot to select the site number first. Now, something to note, patient ID, the site number in patient ID will be pre-populated. So as soon as you select the site from this drop-down here, the site number should appear under the patient ID by default. All you would need to do is complete the last few digits of the patient ID. So let's complete a dummy patient number. So gender is a drop-down field. Date of birth is a calendar type field. You just go and select the date of birth, ethnic origin, sample collection and time. Again, the collection date is a calendar type field. Time, that field is a drop-down menu. Then visit name. This drop-down would give you all the visits for that study. So let's say the site is trying to fill out the form for visit 1. So we select visit 1 here. Okay. So as soon as you select visit 1, the requisition form should appear by default on the right-hand side. Now here, as you can see, we have a lot of different columns in that table. The first column is the column which tells you about the samples which are expected for that visit. So here we are expecting whole blood EDTA and urine sample. Then we have the second column which tells you which tube label to use for that sample. So you use these tube labels for the samples listed in the first column. Then you have the container column, which tells you what tube to use for those samples. And then we have the column where it says collected yes or no. So if you collected a sample, you say yes. And if you did not collect the sample, you say no, right? Now, if you selected no here, the system would actually, and you try to go to the next form, right? After selecting no, the system would basically give you a little window where you will need to state the reason why you did not collect that sample, since it was expected for that visit. So I'm going to select yes and go to the next form. So this form was completed successfully. This is what the system says here. Now, the system has taken us to the next declaration form that needs to be completed for visit 1. Here again, you complete the declaration form number for those samples. So, and select whether or not you completed, or whether or not you collected the samples, and then you go to next form. Again, you select whether or not you completed collecting the samples, and if the samples are being sent across or not. Enter in your declaration form number. Go to the next form. So we completed 3 forms, and its system tells us all declaration forms have now been submitted for the selected visit. So you're done for that visit. You completed all the forms. Hooray. Now what you can do is, after you've completed all the forms, the system gives you a link to print the forms, right? So you can go to this button right here, print form button, click on that, and it should take you to PDF versions of all the forms you just completed. All right, so these are the forms you completed. You can print them out. Here is a little, print file button. You can click on that to print these forms. And the last form that you see here is actually just for site records. You do not have to include that with the shipment to your reference. The rest would be sent across along with the samples. All right, okay. So let's go back. This was the submit option. Let's go over to the ship option now. Now, when the sites are sending shipments in batches, this is where the sites would go and print the declaration forms they completed in the past for batch shipment samples. Now, to search for the declaration forms they completed earlier for batch shipment samples, all they would need to do is go to the ship option, select the study, of course, select the site number, and click on search. It should give you all the declaration forms that were completed for this site for batch shipment samples. Now, whichever sample you want to send across, just check that sample, enter in that area bill number. Now, that's an optional field. If you have the number handy, enter that in. If you do not have that available, you can skip that. But, of course, if you have that, we encourage you to always enter that number in because it gives us information to track the samples. After you've checked that sample that you're trying to send across and entered in the area bill number, you click on Ship. And again, this should give you the requisition forms for batch shipment samples. When you go back, the third option you have under accession is the search option. Now, as the name suggests, it actually lets you search for any requisition form that was completed in the past, right? And the requisition form can be searched by using many different fields. You can just select the site number and click on search to give you all the requisition forms that were completed for that site, or you can actually enter in the specific requisition form that you're looking for. And when you enter in the requisition form number, the system would give you only that requisition form. So there are a lot of different ways you can search for a requisition form by. So let's select the site number here and click on search. So the system would give us all the forms that were completed for that particular site. As you can see, we have all these different requisition forms that were completed. Now, in the last column, you have the links where you could click and actually see the PDF version of the form and also print it out if you wanted to by clicking on that print file button. All right. Okay. So it's as easy as that. It's very simple, very user-friendly. Again, just to reiterate, you have 3 tabs: Home tab, Accession tab, Contact Us tab. Home tab brings you back to this page. Accession tab has 3 different options: Submit, Ship, and Search. Contact Us tab gives you contact information of all the different labs. It also gives you the link to the user guide. It also has a link to the FAQ document. Then on the upper right-hand side, this is where the username, the name of the person using the system would be listed. You have the logout button and the change password button as well. Under Accession, we have the first option, which is Submit tab. This is where you would go to fill out the requisition form. You select the study, you select the site, enter in all the required fields. If you do not enter the information which is required, the system would give you an error, and then you would have to go back and complete that information before you move any further. So you do all that, complete all the information. As soon as you select the visit, the system would give you the requisition form here. You complete all the requisition forms, and then you'll be able to print those requisition forms. Similarly, you can go to the Ship button when you're trying to send batch shipment samples. You select the site here. Of course, select the study first, select the site. Click on search, and it should give you all the requisition forms that were completed in the past for batch shipment samples which are still sitting at your site. You can select the sample you were trying to send, enter in the area bill number, again an optional field. If you do not have that number available, you can leave that blank. Click on Ship, and this should give you the requisition form for that particular sample. Last option is the search option. Again, it's something that you can use to search for the requisition form that were completed in the past. Any requisition form that you completed in the past can be searched here. It can be searched by using various different fields. Enter in the requisition form number to basically search for any particular requisition form that you're looking for, or go and basically select the site to search for any requisition form that was completed for that particular site. All right. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I hope you enjoy using EzRF. Thank you so much.